A very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us on the first edition of the Evening Review for this week. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host. Tonight on the show, we are joined by Mali Ngarizemo. He is the chairperson and owner of Young African Football Club that previously played in the Namibia Premier League, and he is here to share with us his views on the current state of football in the country. I call it personally the death of football. Mali, thank you for making time and being here.
Thanks to you, and good evening to your viewers as well.
Sure, wonderful. So, you have a club that previously played. As a matter of fact, of course, we know the whole history about the club being chucked out of the Premier League because of a foreign player that was supposedly not well registered. But besides that, let's just go to the point of why are teams like Young African not playing league football in this moment? What is happening?
Yeah, no, thanks to you for the opportunity of inviting me here. I think the football has started. I don't know why people will say that football is not playing. Football has started. We started off with a transitional league that did not complete because of the COVID issues. And then the NFA Cup that we managed to conclude recently, where even my club ended up losing at the semi-final or third place. So I think football has started. It's just that unfortunate during this process, also knowing that now we resort under the Football Association, the Namibia Premier Football League now, the newly established league. So this a bit was with no sponsors and all these things. So this, in a way or in a process, the money became an issue because you see the NFA don't get funding from anywhere else besides the brewery that sponsors the national team, which is money that is also not enough to cater for all the national teams. So some of this money was diverted to the national team, which has an obligations towards CAF and FIFA to play this game. So, and because of this, our games was put on hold, and also because we are awaiting the remaining funds that was due to NFA that has still not come. So I think that's the reason why the league could not conclude, and we're still in process of agreeing whether to call the league off or perhaps continue. So that is still in negotiations. We had our meeting now last week ago. So I think we're still working.
You're still working.
Yes.
But Mali, you also know that even prior to COVID, there was no football, and this seems to be the continuation of the same scenario. Of course, now at least you are brave enough to talk about money, but everybody else is just hiding behind COVID-19. COVID-19. Every country has COVID-19. The South African Premier League is going on, English Premier League, Spain, everywhere. So it can be COVID, really.
No, you're quite right, to you. But remember that then each country also has its own regulations, because ours, which is always announced by the president. And then in South Africa is different because sports was allowed and they could play. Yeah. But here, sports was completely shut down. It's only now a month ago that sports was again allowed to resume. Yeah. Hence, you saw also how we're playing the NFA Cup, which is the biggest cup in a country, but you have to play this weekend and then the weekend after, and so which was also taking a bit toll from the players. But at least, like I said, I'm happy we managed to finish, so we're fine. And then remember also the transitional league was just not an official league, but it was just for us to be able to come up with something that can keep us playing. In the meantime, while we're trying to prepare our official league resumption. So yeah, and I also wanted to to state also something that I heard from, because it has to do with money, because I heard from one of your invitees here that you invited, that was saying, when you were looking at how the government can interfere, and I think the answer was no, government must stop giving money to the association. I think also we have to correct that and give the right facts to the viewers, because it's important to find out if government really does give money to the association, which I would say it's a big no, because I think for the past 5 years, even when the previous leadership was there, government has stopped giving money. The only time I remember government gave money to the NFA was only for the Nations Cup. You remember where they also even saying that that money must be paid when the NC wanted to hold back some money and stuff. So that's the only time they only gave money for the participation of the Nations Cup. But the normal annual money that they were giving, the 6 million or 8 million, we know for the past 6-7 years they have not been giving that money.
Yes. But do you understand also, Mali, where those remarks of Olsen Kahiriri were coming from? The fact that we have officials who go to work in the morning, I put it in quotation marks, because there's no evidence of that work being there, because the evidence would have been that clubs like Young African and others would be on a football pitch as we speak now. So the point that Kahiri was making, my interpretation was really to say that is to compel the leadership of the NFA to start doing something for football. And that is not happening. 100%.
In somehow also some part I did agree with him. He was quite right, because for you to get to push people, you have to press some buttons. That's quite right. But then you have seen now the new developments. We have tried to change the regime by bringing in new leadership, yet we can see it's still not working for us. So perhaps maybe we're looking forward for the extraordinary Congress that is called, so we can see what changes can be brought, and if there's new leadership, what good can they bring to football? Because it's very true that we want football to play. It has really taken toll to the players. Some are back to the farm. We have to call players back from the farm. You could see how even their physical condition has been affected, because they're not in the same shape that they had when they were at clubs. So it's really not a good thing that football is not on. And we're pushing. That's also our cry. Don't forget that we clubs also, and some of us also, we want the clubs to participate and get to produce players for this country.
Exactly. Now, when you speak, Mali, of the attempts to remove this leadership, what is it that this leadership did or did not do to deserve being removed? And when you talk about this removal, are you referring specifically to the president of the NFA?
No, why the president? This is a collective. People are saying the executive. I mean, you must have seen the letter from Hardab region. It says all the leadership, all the executive, which is 11 people, must go. And there's only one reason. There's no relationship of working there. These guys have lost trust on one another. So we cannot wait on them anymore. So as club leaders, club owners, as regional leadership of the football in this country, which are the real custodian of the game, have come, most of them have come together and decided this might be good for football, because you cannot leave these things in the ExCo's hands, because we thought maybe they were given a chance to try and reconcile. It did not work. So what do we do? It's just the same buttons that maybe Kahiriri has said that maybe some buttons must be pressed, and hence we saying then they must go. So that's why we supported the Hardab region, that it's true, it's not working. They had a chance to fix their story. They had a chance to, from the president, to show leadership and bring his people together, which is completely failed. So now we have to step in. As members of the association, which constitute the association, and take decisions whether it's good for someone or not. At the end of the day, we think it's good for football going forward, because you want to try and bring other leaders. There's no much damage that is done here, Toivo. It's just leadership change, and then we give these people again a mandate, and then we see whether it works or not.
People are saying, Mali, that this is a very well-calculated move to call an extraordinary Congress, but in fact it's to target certain individuals and re-elect, especially those that are called the progressive forces, to remain in their positions, and then you check out those that you are at war with.
No, but I don't know who would say so. Why can't we give it time and see what happens?
Yeah.
Why can we? Why are we jumping the ship? Why can we? And the same thing also. We also did not promise our comrades that are in ExCo that also has to go anything. We said the very important thing is for us to take such decision, and then what happens after that, we cannot promise anyone. And as long as it's good for football, that's what we're looking at now.
Yeah.
So as to individuals, target for this one to go and then bring back this one, that's not in us now. It's completely out of question. I think that's propaganda that maybe others are trying to use.
Yeah.
But Toivo, you and I are witness to these things. You know, this guy has been elected last year. Immediately after election, you saw all these developments that has been happening. People were given a chance to rectify. It's just leadership. It's just leadership. If you don't understand with anyone or two or three, try and go behind, go in one-on-one, sit one-on-one with a person, try and solve these issues. But people, egos and people want to show bossy. So unfortunately, at the end of the day, we as football club owners and people that are leading football in different structures, we said, no, this is enough. Let's go back and remove these people that we have put in because they're not giving us what we asked them, which is to lead football.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll go for a quick break, Mali, but when we come back, the first question I'll ask you is what led to these squabbles in your understanding? We go for a break and return. We continue with Mali Ngarizemo. Mali, so I'm asking this particular question because, you know, when Congress, in the build-up to Congress last year, there were alliances, people who call themselves progressive forces, and to my understanding at the time, people like Ranga Hikali were there. And in fact, I thought that Ranga and Franco Cosmos were in the same campaign group. Suddenly, they are the worst enemies. In your observation, what came about that led to this?
No, but Toivo, just to correct you.
Yes.
There's no way that Cosmos could have been a member of the Progressive Force then, because Cosmos was part of the normalization committee under the Federation of Football, which is FIFA.
But he has his own interest also in...
No, I would disagree with that. Maybe me, I'm seated here, I'm a very proud member and founding member of the Progressive Force. So, and I don't know, I have no recall of having Cosmos in any of our meetings or discussions when we were planning to take over football last year. Okay. So it's on against that background that I would say Cosmos has never been part of Progressive Force. Maybe yes, as an individual, he was really hoping football to have new leadership and in terms of moving forward. So that's his business, but not. But Ranga, yes, I can confirm he was part of us because we went and approached him to bring him on board. Hence, we spoke about him being part of us when we went to Otavi to try and prepare our final meeting, us going to his farm also to make our final list as to who will take what positions come the Congress 2020. So those are facts, those are things I know of. But then again, coming back to your question, there's nothing wrong with people coming together and agreeing or setting up a resolution in terms of what they want, why they want to take over football and all these things. And you know, football has been in the hands of some for 2.5 decades, so it was not an issue. But then changes must come. It's just that those changes will come, it won't be easy. But the rest, you know, that when we took over football, under this new leadership that is now been asked to go, it all was fine and well. But then the problem only came when all these allegations that was put in the papers, which is on black and white, started happening. That's where all these squabbles came, because the Secretary General, I think he wanted to protect equally also the President by trying to give him a head up that when you want to do, or your company come to become part of this business, it will be conflict of interest. And that should not happen. And then later you realize the President again started telling the SG that no, refusing to sign his contract, his employment contract, where he was saying no, he will only give that guy a 3-year contract. He will go with ExCo when the term expires. He must not remain. All these things, which is completely out of the book. So I think that's where it started. As behind members and also people that has also a say, because we remember we serve, as much as we are progressive, we serve in the structures of football. That's why we were bringing in our voice on that basis. We tried ourselves to resolve these things. It could not. That's why you saw at the end of the day, the president now became part of the people that were fighting in football. And then we had to step up our G and say, no, then these people are not honest and fair to us. So let's continue fighting. We'll try and tell our people to please try and reconcile and work together. But at the end, see who brought the agenda point that was brought. Now it was brought by Hardap, but remember Hardap is the one that chose against that voted against Ranga, or the executive that is here. So that's football. So, and I would never say why Hardap now, because that's showing leadership. Because to that chairman of Hardap, to him it's not about him being onto a side, it's about football. And I think I must applaud him for such a decision or such a move, because at the end of the day, it was not about him, it was about football in general for making such a call.
Now, if the conflict started between these two men, Ranga Ikali and Franco Cosmos, of course we've seen allegations flying in both directions. Ranga is accused of trying to use his companies, IT companies and other companies to do work for NFA. He was in this seat where you are. And he was justifying those things to say that they were going to be done for free, or that the NFA should not be invoiced. And then he also threw some allegations against Cosmos about giving NFA employees contracts to fumigate the buildings and stuff like that. So if it's conflict between two men, how powerful are these two men to really sabotage the entire fraternity of football? And tied to that, we saw Tim Ekanja speaking at the Sports Awards 2 weeks ago and calling for everybody to pick up and go. You know, what do you make, as a matter of fact, what do you make of Tim's comments?
No, you see, like we said, I think the issue between the SG and the president, we have tried our best to try and resolve that. And remember, that's why even saying that the allegations that was going both sides, the Secretary General can only be dismissed or suspended by the executive members collectively. So, and then the president itself now, of no hiding that he didn't enjoy much support in the ExCo, so hence he could not get that thing to go through the ExCo. So he tried to do it himself, but then at the end of the day, what can you do? That guy is employed on a 4-year contract, so for you to take such decision, it should only come through the ExCo, unfortunately. So that's why that it could not work for him, and the ExCo had to take a resolution that Cosmos will remain, and all those allegations against him should be dismissed. So that was an ExCo position, and you can do nothing because the Constitution speaks to that.
Well, let me interject you there. What was the basis of ExCo saying Mr. Cosmos shouldn't be moved? Because has ExCo thoroughly investigated the allegations, including all those things of fumigations, or are we saying yes, we investigated and we found they were true, but they are not big enough to get...
But what fumigation? The fumigation at the soccer house was done by APS, which our president is a shareholder in that company. So how can it be Cosmos' problem now? So, and these are the things that were brought, but irrespective of that, the president was to bring these charges to the ExCo so that they can take a collective decisions in terms of the way forward. And this did not happen. So it was just the ExCo believed that these things are things that they're reading and communications that they're hearing. So it was on that basis that they said they cannot take such thing that they're hearing that was not brought by a fellow ExCo member to their meetings. So it was against that they said then there's no grounds for this guy to go anywhere to be charged. So it was only against that background that they did so. So which we also thought that it was fair. So, and you know why he could not go there? It's because he could not enjoy majority of the support there. It's because he was not seeing eye to eye with those people. So as a president, I think he failed on that one. because he was supposed to go back and try and make peace with his people, try and fix things in his ExCo, but then he could not.
Yeah.
So on the issue of Tem, I think, I think Tem was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I would say he was wrongly advised the way he went out, because as a sponsor, you must also be careful how you say things. Just like, I remember when we were in the NPL, as clubs, we were even stopped from talking to Tem. Imagine a club getting grand a month for putting that MTC logo in front of my jersey. We were stopped because the contract had stopped us. Only the executive should talk to MTC. So I think if we have also taken that approach and and if he really cared about football, he was the first to want to engage the ExCo. Even on his personal capacity, on his sponsor level, to try and see how he can contribute. Because remember, MTC contributed to where we are now.
Yeah.
Don't forget that, to you. Because I remember very well, when we started that season, that my team got that illegal relegation.
Yeah.
The issue, MTC gave 20 million on condition that the NPL leadership will secure 9 million sponsorship for the first division. So these leagues can start simultaneously. And the NPL failed. Even in that contract, as I seated here now, it said we must make sure that in 3 months, we will secure the sponsorship for the first divisions. And I remember there's an email Tem sent in January or early February reminding us that 24 February was the last day, that if we don't get a sponsor, the 9 million for the first division, then the contract that he gave us will be null and void. What happened? And we standing, football is not playing. All this squabble started because the first division did not play. That's why the relegation and promotion could not take place. So some people must first look at around them before they go and speak things. I think it was very wrong for him to, very harsh for him to come out like that. Yes.
But isn't that almost the same position as what you just alluded to earlier, to say you are calling Congress so that those who have failed football can be voted out if that is the outcome of the Congress. So how is Tim's comment different from your position?
No, you cannot come out and say people must fix their squabble. People has failed. They took over football without a manifesto and stuff and what. We know who he helped also. We know who he sponsored, who his favorite candidate that he wanted to take over football. Perhaps there was people that had manifesto. Why did they not then win the election? So it's not about that. You actually also destabilizing football democracy, because it was a democratic process. People won, irrespective manifesto or not, and those people are in charge. So allow them to work. We have not worked. People is just in a year in the office. Unfortunately, these things happen. And people that voted these people into power, at least they must be applauded by standing up and saying, guys, it's not working. Let's try other people. So how is that not good enough?
Indeed.
Yes.
As a football club owner, how has the dormancy of football, the death of football as I call it, affect your players and your club in general, and then your players in particular?
It did big time. It did big time. I can tell you now, if people truth can be told, ask the people that were in Khobabes when we went to play the semi-final of the MTC NFA Cup now. The atmosphere, you could see Khobabes is the town for football. So this has affected all the inhabitants of our region, of course, denying them to see football, to watch football, a game that is loved by many. And then again, at the club, you cannot say, because seated here now, I have foreign players, 5 of them that I've signed, that are seated at my house in Khobabes, doing nothing. They're just lying. Because we don't know whether football will start, we don't know whether football is not starting. Every time I have to renew their visas. That cost me about 1,100 per player. So players, like I said earlier, they went to the farm. Players are out of shape. Players are turning to alcohol. And what can I do? I cannot stop them, because I cannot keep them busy with something else. So it has affected football in general, and also, of course, our clubs, because especially our clubs outside Toivo, they are different from Windhoek clubs. Because our clubs outside, we keep players. The players are under the club's care. they eat lunch, they eat dinner from the club, even if they are getting their salaries. So all these things. So it's different. It's unlike the window clubs that just get players to meet at training grounds and that's it.
Then they go back
Yes,
to their house.
yes. There it's different. We keep these players like our own kids at our homes. And when there is no football, it means there is no income to the club. And then it means it will be very also tough for us to sustain these players.
Indeed.
Yes.
The final question to you, Mali, is then, are you guys working towards NFA Vice President Isaac Fredericks to take over from Ranga? Is that the plan for the week, for the 20th of November?
What makes him different from Ranga or the rest of the ExCo? What makes him different? So to you, like I said, let's be patient.
Yeah.
Let's be patient, because remember, for you to qualify to stand for the ExCo position in the association, it's very simple. You must have served not less than 4 years in any NFA member executive position.
Yeah.
So I'm pleading, I'm urging everyone who stand a chance to want to be nominated or to want to be elected as president to come out.
Yeah.
He must come out. He must say why he wants to lead, and then it will be up to us, the members, to say that we agree, maybe that's the guy we can take. For now, we're not promising anyone any positions. We want to make changes, because remember, the Congress it only has 2 agenda points, which is the dismissal and then the election, the appointment of election committee. So, and then after that, it will take us another month to 2 for us to start the nomination process. So there's still a lot of time. It does not matter how long, even if it was 10 years that you have served in those positions that I have said, you still stand a chance to come and lead football. But please, to you, I'm pleading this, that whoever wants to run football, football should not be a secondary thing to you.
Yeah.
Because if you make football a secondary thing, we'll just remain here. We might as well also call again another Congress after 6 months and remove those people. So we want people that are committed to the game. We want people that want to come and serve football, so that our football can really grow and go somewhere. Look at Botswana, Zambia. These are countries I know they were really far behind us, but today they have advanced.
Yes.
Because we have people that does not have time to football.
Yeah.
Leave your farms, leave your what, come and do football purely. Give it about a year, 6 months, see where you can take it. If it's bearing fruits, please continue and give us what we want. Yes, that's all I'm pleading.
Mali,
Thanks, my brother.
you are vaccinated, like me.
Very much.
Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, that
Thanks.
is Mali Ngarizemo talking to us about the exciting and also scary movement in the football administration of our country, including a Congress that is being called for the 20th of November. Let's see how it comes out. Thank you for watching.